In the realm of hypothetical battles, few matchups present such a fascinating collision of mythology and modern legend as Superman, the last son of Krypton, against Osiris, the ancient Egyptian god of the dead and resurrection. One represents the pinnacle of comic book heroism. The other embodies millennia of religious devotion and cosmic authority over life and death itself. Superman's powers are well documented across decades of comic book history. Born Kal-El on the dying planet Krypton, he was sent to Earth as an infant and raised in Smallville, Kansas. Under the yellow sun of Earth's solar system, his Kryptonian biology grants him extraordinary abilities. He possesses strength sufficient to move planets, speed that rivals the Flash, and vulnerability that withstands nuclear explosions. Heat vision capable of matching the temperature of stars, freeze breath, X-ray vision, and the power of flight. His senses extend across the electromagnetic spectrum. He can survive in the vacuum of space and has demonstrated the ability to process information at superhuman speeds. Beyond raw power, Superman possesses millennia of combat experience in various continuities. Having trained with some of the greatest warriors across the DC universe, his weaknesses are specific and limited: kryptonite radiation, magic, and red solar energy. The magical vulnerability proves particularly relevant when considering a battle against a divine being. Osiris occupies a position of supreme importance in the Egyptian pantheon, according to ancient texts and mythological accounts. He ruled as one of the first pharaohs of Egypt alongside his wife and sister, Isis. His brother Set, consumed by jealousy, murdered Osiris through an elaborate scheme involving a decorated coffin. Set dismembered the body and scattered the pieces across Egypt. Isis recovered the fragments and, through powerful magic, resurrected her husband. This resurrection transformed Osiris into something greater than he had been in life. He became the lord of the underworld, the judge of souls, and the god of resurrection itself. The powers attributed to Osiris are vast and difficult to quantify by mortal standards. He commands absolute authority over death and the afterlife. Souls of the deceased answer to his judgment. He possesses the power to grant or deny resurrection, to curse the living with death, and to bestow immortality upon those he favors. His magical abilities extend to control over vegetation, the flooding of the Nile, and the cycles of nature itself. It's a god who has already died and returned. He exists in a state between life and death that renders conventional destruction meaningless. The nature of Egyptian divine power presents unique challenges for analysis. Gods in Egyptian mythology derive strength from worship, belief, and cosmic function. Osiris's role in maintaining the balance between life and death makes him integral to the functioning of the universe itself. His existence is tied to fundamental concepts rather than merely physical form. In direct physical combat, Superman possesses clear advantages and measurable attributes. His speed alone would allow him to strike millions of times before Osiris could perceive the attack. His strength could shatter mountains. His heat vision could vaporize conventional matter instantly. Against a purely physical opponent, these advantages would prove decisive within moments. However, Osiris is not a purely physical opponent. His divine nature places him firmly within the category of magical beings. Superman's established vulnerability to magic means that Osiris's powers would bypass the Kryptonian's otherwise impenetrable defenses. Divine curses, death magic, and the raw power of a god who commands the boundary between existence and non-existence would strike. Superman with full effect? The question of whether Superman can harm a god depends heavily on the specific interpretation of divine immortality. In some mythological frameworks, gods can be wounded, imprisoned, or diminished, but never truly destroyed. Osiris has already experienced death and emerged more powerful. His existence is maintained by cosmic necessity rather than physical resilience. Superman might scatter his atoms across the universe only to find Osiris reforming moments later. His role in the cosmic order, demanding his continued existence. Superman has faced divine opponents before. His battles against Darkseid, a new god of the fourth world, demonstrate his capability against beings of cosmic power. He has traded blows with entities that threaten multiversal existence. Yet Darkseid, for all his power, operates within frameworks of physical force that Superman can match. Osiris operates within frameworks of death, judgment, and resurrection that exist outside Superman's experience. The battlefield itself would influence the outcome significantly. In the mortal realm, removed from his seat of power in the duat, Osiris might find his abilities somewhat diminished. In the underworld itself, surrounded by the countless souls under his dominion and empowered by his throne of judgment, Osiris would stand at the height of his considerable power. Superman, conversely, would find the underworld devoid of yellow sunlight, potentially weakening him as the battle continued. Consider also the psychological dimension of such a conflict. Superman's greatest strength has never been his physical power, but his unshakable moral character and will to protect others. Osiris, as a judge of souls, would perceive this character immediately. The god who weighs hearts against the feather of Maat would recognize Superman's fundamental goodness. Whether this recognition would influence the battle's outcome depends on whether the conflict stems from genuine opposition or misunderstanding. If forced to render a verdict on this hypothetical confrontation, the analysis must acknowledge the fundamental asymmetry between the combatants. Superman excels at physical confrontation against measurable opponents. Osiris exists as a metaphysical concept given form, the embodiment of death's transition and life's renewal. Superman could theoretically destroy Osiris's physical manifestation repeatedly. His speed and power would allow him to do so before the god could effectively counterattack. But destruction of the physical form means nothing to a being whose existence is tied to universal constants. Osiris would return and return again, each time potentially adapting or simply waiting for Superman's yellow sun-derived powers to fade. Conversely, Osiris possesses the theoretical ability to simply declare Superman dead. His authority over the transition between life and death is absolute within his domain. Whether this power could overcome Kryptonian resilience remains uncertain, but magic has wounded Superman before. The most likely outcome involves stalemate through mutual inability to achieve permanent victory. Superman cannot destroy what exists as concept. Osiris cannot easily overcome the fastest, strongest mortal to ever live. The battle would rage until both parties recognize the futility of continued conflict. If victory must be declared, it goes to Osiris. His immortality is more absolute, his patience infinite, and his power over death itself represents the one force that claims all living things eventually. Superman is extraordinary, but he remains fundamentally alive, and all living things fall under Osiris's eventual dominion.